Testing, testing, 1, 2. Okay, this is going to be a long one. Um, I kind of felt like I'd like some free money, so let's make another tier list video. The A set of Pokemon TCG Pocket is coming to a close with this latest pack. We now have every single EX card that we're going to get for the A set, and the B set is going to, maybe have a different design philosophy. There's going to be some new mechanics. At the very least, there's going to be Mega Evolution, so we'll see what comes out of that. But now that all the EX cards are out, now they're all floating around, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a tier list of all of them. I have played the game pretty much since release, but take at least since Genetic Apex, but not the day one. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I have been playing competitively, but it's not like I keep my ear to the ground with the discussions about the game. So if there's some kind of off-meta brew that I don't know about that's actually super strong, I'm sorry. And, there are some cards I'm going to think are strong and some cards I'm going to think are weak that are actually the opposite of what I think they are. It's just the nature of, it's going to be a video about my opinions, all right? I have no idea how long this video is going to be. So I got a big old glass of juice and I got my mango black tea blend. I got 5 little categories here. Strong currently, those are the cards that are like dominating the competitive scene right now. That list will probably be pretty short. There's a lot of cards that are actually pretty decent. Viable currently are the cards that, you might not really expect to be. I should like put a Pokemon from each of these so you guys know what I'm talking about. Let me think. Could I do that with only grass? I don't know. I don't know if there's one of each just in grass. Viable currently are the ones that aren't really meta but can fight the meta decks. Has potential are cards that have fallen off, but I think that with the new cards, there might be a little bit untapped potential that isn't currently being used. I think those cards might be okay, but they're not seeing any play currently. Viable at release but fell off is just pure power creep. It's just the cards that were good when they came out, but they just can't hang anymore. Something like Executor, I don't know. And then bad at release is the cards that were not really considered to be viable even when they came out, and then haven't had any kind of potential since then. Anyway, I hope this is all easily readable. I'm just broadcasting my whole screen because I don't really think that I don't know how I'm gonna make it fit. I'll read the cards as I do them, I guess. You should be able to see the little portraits, I think. Um, First up is Venusaur. This is probably a bad at release card. Look at that. I got a little taller when I went in there, didn't it? Um, it heals, but the energy requirements are really strict, and even with having both Venusaur to get all that energy, and then also either a Leafeon EX or a Superior to make it faster. Leafeon's a stage 1 and Superior's a stage 2, so those decks are very clunky. It's hard to run anything else in them, and you lose room for supporters and stuff like that. Um, I don't think Venusaur was kind of off brew even compared to at the time in Genetic Apex, people were playing like Mewtwo, Pikachu, Charizard, stuff like that. Venusaur is kind of slower than all them, and not really better. Its damage output is a little suspect. It's only doing 100, I think. And yeah, the healing is nice. It does heal quite a lot, and it does have a lot of HP. But the lack of damage output and the slowness of the card really hold it back. Executor was good. It was pretty good when it came out, even at Genetic Apex. It had a bad matchup against Fire, obviously. And then it actually got better for a little bit during like the Darkrai meta. And then it kind of fell off again. It's kind of an early game card. It's like you put your 1 energy on it and then you forget about it. You wait patiently for it to die. The problem is in this day and age, with the ways of attacking the bench or like Cyrus or Sabrina, stuff like that. Um, 80, even 80 per turn is not very much these days for an EX card, and half the time you're going to be getting 40 per turn. And then if they ever kill something that's not this Executor first, this Executor, you really don't want to send it out because the high retreat cost plus you lose if it dies. So it's quite an awkward card to play around. It's only good in the early game. It is quite good in the early game, but it's had its roles compressed by Pokemon like Leafeon and Chuckle, which kind of like do Executor's job more safely and with more versatility. Celebi, I'm tentatively gonna put this into. It's hard. It has had some help. I think Shuckle is a good friend. You could do a Shuckle Snivy Celebi set. It sounds a little iffy. I don't think I'd love it. Celebi is very volatile. The 130 health is really low these days. Um, so it can just get one shot by various things. And it's okay as a lead. It's a little bit slow, but if you happen to get like the turn 3 superior or like even the turn 5 superior, it can actually do a lot of work as an early game card. And 130 HP is quite a lot in the early game. And then you have stuff like Erica as well to keep it healthy, or Leaf Cape, or both. Um, so it has had some help recently. It's kind of like one of the best win cons for grass, but it's definitely slower and more inconsistent than some of the other grass win cons. Um, this one's kind of tricky and Mega. I think it wasn't really considered to be a great card when it came out, but I think it hasn't really gotten any worse since then. It's just 3 energies for 120 damage, which is not a whole lot of damage. I can't lie. Like 120 really feels kind of weak. It is 120, right? Pretty sure. Yeah. Um, the HP is good. The weakness I think is electric, which is kind of nice. Or it's good that it's not fire. You can splash it in any deck color. The babies help this. Any kind of energy acceleration helps this. You can run it in water with Arita. There's a decent amount of versatility to this card, and it can activate actually pretty quickly, and it can clean up. 120 is a little low. You really want higher than that now. 140 is like the good damage benchmark because that'll kill things. That'll kill like most current threats, especially with red. Red would like get them even if they were in a cape or something like that. Um, I don't think it's like a super strong card. 3 energies is a little awkward, but it is possible to kind of sneak 3 energies onto this. You can definitely run it with like Leafeon. Leafeon, it could go here. These all of these cards are like really close. I feel like this Celebi could be viable at release but fell off, and Yen Mega could be viable at release but fell off. I'm kind of crazy, so I'm probably gonna put a lot of cards in has potential. I'm a believer in a lot of these cards. Um, I guess Leafeon might be here. Leafeon is again a card that's quite good in the early game, and it has had a lot of help between EV Bag and like other things it can put energies on, such as like Buzzwole, I guess. Um, the best recipient classically was Celebi, but or like a regular Leafeon. A regular Leafeon is nice because you can just run that in a deck with 4 EVs, but regular Leafeon you really feel it's very low HP. It's only 90, which is only 130 or 120 with Cape, Leaf Cape. Um, but this was seen as one of the best grass energy acceleration cards, and it was generally seen as being more consistent than Superior, which is quite a nuisance to build up. Like this is Superior is not really an attacker; it just sits there on the bench, and you need a rare candy or like you need a bunch more cards because this is just a stage 1, and Superior is a stage 2. It's much more consistent to get this guy up, and he's not a horrible attacker as they go. Getting repeated 70s off is like already like Executor but better because Executor's doing repeated 80s half the time. This guy's doing repeated 70s all the time, and he sets up at the same speed if you go first, right? No, he attacks on turn 5 if you go first, and he attacks on turn 4 if you go second. So it's slower than Executor. That does matter. Beedrill. This is a card that probably also goes here. Um, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this card on the subreddit, where they're like, actually, Beedrill is pretty good in the current meta because it's very annoying when it removes your energies. Um, I don't know if I truly believe it. The damage is super low, but it's very possible to just Sabrina them into something with a high retreat cost and like prevent them from ever switching out, or just Sabrina them into something that just dies because you're doing 80 damage per hit. A lot of basics will just die. And combined with Team Rocket Grunt, even things that are ready to attack can just like suddenly not be able to attack. That's very volatile though. Your Team Rocket Grunt can just brick. The cool thing about Beedrill is that even if something can keep enough energy to keep attacking you, you do have a ton of HP, 170, and then you're also preventing them from setting up any mon in the back. Like normally you kind of finish setting up your front mon and then you're setting up your back mon while you're fighting with your front mon. But Beedrill forces you to keep on putting energies on your front mon. So it's very awkward. Beedrill has like, I don't know, its damage output is way lower than you would expect from a good mon. Um, I haven't seen anyone. I want to put this in viable currently because it is a good card, but I haven't seen anyone. I've seen like one person use it in the last like 100 battles. It did benefit from how, so it can do 110 to the thing in front of it, or 130 to the thing in front of it if you can pierce the pain. Um, what else about it? It's nice being able to pick your target like that. It has kind of it depends on what it's on, what kind of deck it's on. It didn't really get that many new friends. I always thought Pheromosa was kind of a good partner because it's just a basic that can hurt things on the bench, which sets up easy kills later on for this guy. Um, Being able to pierce the pain, everything. I might put it in has potential. I think it's probably still a workable card in the current meta, but I think it's not super strong. Delmise, it traps the Mon in, but the energy requirements is too high, and it's very awkward. It doesn't pair well with Leafeon or uh, Superior, and it's a basic with a high retreat cost. Being able to trap Mons in is on paper very powerful, but unless you like get turn 2, put this thing up, and then turn 4 get up your Superior, it's just too slow. You'll never get something like that going, and it's kind of a liability to have in your deck. A lot of people said this was one of the worst EX cards. Um, 80 damage is not even enough to kill. Like it's too weak too. In addition to everything else. Buzzwole. This is in the top 2 somewhere. I originally had this as top tier, but maybe viable is a bit more fair. Um, I don't know. This card is really crazy. Its damage output is not insane. You just got 30 for 2 energies or 120 for 3 energies, but you can't spam the 120. The thing is, this requires very low investment because of the way Lusamine works. So it can go from literally not even on the field to fully set up in like one turn. You just play it down, you put Lusamine to get 2 energies on it, and then you put your 3rd energy on it, and that's it. It's ready to go. It can big beat. And then you've got a little bit of versatility if you're running Celesteela, but I think even I think it's even a viable card even without Celesteela. But I don't think it's like meta. It is strong. It's quick. It sets up really fast. It's kind of awkward to be lead with it because it is 2 retreat cost and it can't attack for a little bit. I'm gonna put it in viable, but I don't think it's super strong. Shuckle I think is also viable. Shuckle is kind of enabler of a lot of other kind of good grass cards. I think it could make most of these cards work. It just sits there in the front, and I'll go ahead and chuck Jumpluff in there. Am I crazy for putting Jumpluff above like Leafeon or Beedrill? Jumpluff is pretty obnoxious. I've seen some really fun decks where you go back and forth between Jumpluff and a first of all Jumpluff works in any deck, and you can go back and forth between it and like uh the legendary beasts, and that way you can get your extra draw effect every turn, or you could like go into Oricorio to prevent the opponent from doing damage to you. Quite a lot of versatility to that card, and it has the same thing like original Beedrill had, where it's doing 70 damage from 1 energy for as early as turn 3. So it's quite a dangerous card. Um, a lot of versatility though, but again, it's not really a win con. Shuckle, you can go back and forth into a Shuckle if you want. I don't think it's the best ally for Jumpluff. Shuckle just takes reduced damage, and unlike it's not the HP is not crazy. It's only 120, but minus 20 damage from every hit is actually a pretty big deal in the early game, where a lot of things are going to be struggling to hurt you. Its attack power isn't super good, but it's very low investment. It's very easy to just find time to put a single energy on this and start flipping, and you'll get like 20 or 40 every turn. Um, and then also the thing about it that kind of differs from Executor is that you can easily get out of it again. You can just pay the 1 retreat cost, whereas Executor has 3 retreat costs, which is very awkward. So Shuckle just allows you to kind of leave, and then combine that with Leaf Cape and Erica. It's like a really good early game wall that lets you get lots of energies on a Celebi and lets you like fully set up an Executor or like the Alolan Executor or Mythical Islands Executor, or like I don't know, a Celebi, or like it lets you get your evolutionary lines going because it's just a basic. You're not it takes almost none of your deck. It's very easy to just slot one of these in. Charizard, the original Charizard, it took 14 minutes just to cover grass. We're going to be here a while. I'm going to go a little faster, I think. Regular Charizard requires too much energy. There are new energy accelerants such as Flareon and Magby that do help Charizard charge up, but they're only given like 1 energy per, and that's too slow for Charizard. The only real good friend it had was Moltres, I think. I think this one is viable at release but fell off. Moltres was super strong at giving this guy a whole bunch of energies. And then, 180 HP plus 200 damage per turn. If you had a decent amount of energy on this, even if it was just like, you just let your Moltres die, you have no points, none of the opponent's Pokemon even have any damage on them. But Charizard can just clean up. Charizard is like a crazy dangerous creature. if it's invested and ready to go. Even now, I think it would be able to just kill two things pretty reliably. The problem is, there's more. Um, the people are you can kind of kill Moltres more easily. It's harder for Charizard to find time to set up. It's very brick heavy because what if you don't start with Moltres or like what if Moltres is um, I don't know. I think I think Arcanine probably was bad at release. I think it actually was okay at release. I think it was okay during Mythical Islands. It's definitely bad now. 120 damage is terrible, and 3 energies is a little too slow. It is quick to set up, it's only a stage 1. And with Magby, it actually probably is okay. But I don't think it's there's so many other things I think would be better with Magby. There are so many. This is one of the worst Magby abusers, and it's only really good with Magby if you go second. Growlithe doesn't really have a great card, and then this guy, like if you go second with Magby, and you get 1 energy on it, and then the next turn you draw your Arcanine. In an absolutely perfect world, you can be doing turn 4, 120 damage per turn. 120 is just not enough. Is the flat out of it. 120 just doesn't kill any EXs in this day and age. Um, Even like the electric ones are like 130 standard unless it's Pikachu. Um, I think it's probably bad at release. I think there was a little period where it was okay. It was kind of underrated, but I think it's like firmly in the bad category. Moltres definitely viable at release, but fell off. It might still be a little bit real. I think it's a very awkward thing. Like nowadays, Oricorio would just blow most Moltres decks out of the water because most Moltres decks attack with Moltres and then like one other thing that Moltres powers up. Um, so very, very, very. There's like a single card that like kind of kills the entire idea. I think for a little while, people when Oricorio first came out, people were still running Charizard decks, but they'd run like a regular Charizard. They would run like the Stokesard, but then they would run like Genetic Apex Charizard non-EX just to kill Oricorios, which is pretty funny to think about. Um, I think it's you'd rather have the fire types that require less energy, and then also like the mons that set up a little faster, like Magby. Moltres is too slow, and the extra energy it generates compared to Magby with its higher survivability and more energy per turn um, is not super, I don't know, important because the main mons that you kind of want to set up. Most fire mons are not super energy hungry anymore. Like Genetic Apex Charizard was the most. Most fire mons since then either generate their own energies, or in Ho-Oh's case, Ho-Oh is the battery. So putting a bunch of energies up the Ho-Oh is kind of awkward. Because like, what if you die getting all your energy onto Moltres? I mean, onto Ho-Oh from Moltres, and then Moltres comes in and puts the energies on something else, but maybe it dies. Uh, Ape I think is has potential. I think people are kind of sleeping on this card. It is hitting for 140, which is the good number. With red that'll kill a Suicune. I don't know how good your chances are against Suicune decks with Infernape, but that's neither here nor there. Originally, this card was really awkward because there weren't a lot of mons with like low retreat cost that you could kind of use, but now there's babies, and babies kind of work with it anyway. Like Magby plus Chimchar actually sounds very feasible. Um, you are going to be discarding a lot of energies. Oh, energy elemental switch also helps this. Like you can attack, and then if you have even a single mon on your bench that has an energy on it, you can then attack the next turn by using elemental switch. So Magby and elemental switch have done wonders for this card. I think it's probably still good in the right deck. I'm gonna put Charizard in viable currently. I might be crazy. Stokesard is still crazy. Like if you get a turn 3 Stokesard, there are almost no decks that can stand against that. 150 per turn is just insane. Um, I've seen people run all-in versions of this. I've seen people use it as just a win con in the end game. It does have a lot of HP. I think it's 180 HP. It does have to spend a turn stoking, which is annoying. But rarely is that really an issue. It's usually it's kind of good to clean at any point in the game. In the early game, things can't kill it, and in the late game, things can't kill it in one hit, and then it's just doing a massive amount of damage. Pretty much the same thoughts about Incineroar. In the early game, if you can get it up quickly, it's absolutely fiendish, doing its 50 damage with the punch and the burn effect and all that. Especially with How. How made it even better. And then in the late game, it's pretty easy to not one-hit KO this thing, and then if it ever has 3 energies on it, it's hitting for absolutely massive damage, 140 or 160 with Red, or 170 with How. That's just a lot of power. And even then, like 110 with How, even if you're full HP, so you've still got a lot of killing potential, even if they're not hitting you. I'm gonna put Flareon in top tier. I think this will be our first top tier card. Flareon is crazy strong, 150 damage, no 130 damage, but it sets up its energy so easily. Requires next to no investment. It works with EV Bag. It works with Red. Um, it can really just like it can it's so scary when you see the Flareon sitting on the opponent's field and you realize you've already lost because even if you kill the thing in front of you, the Flareon is just going to come in and hit you every turn repeatedly for 130s. It's just a really powerful little guy, and it's got enough HP that it's the one little downside is that it does hurt itself. So you know if it can't get the win on its kill, it can potentially get revenge killed. Or even if it doesn't get revenge killed, you can knock it down to like below 20 HP or below, and then it can't combust. Um, but it's really, really good in EV decks. It's like the best win con for EV decks. Very strong card. I think Ho-Oh, I've never really been a believer in Ho-Oh. I fought Ho-Oh like two times ever where it's done anything, and I think I still won. I feel like a lot of Ho-Oh decks it just does nothing. It's too slow. I don't know if I'd ever call it. I feel weird putting Ho-Oh this low, but this is my experience with Ho-Oh. Maybe other people have had more success with it. If you can kill a Ho-Oh deck in the early game, it's kind of a win more card. It's like if it has time to set up, it can set up other mons and then go crazy. But it rarely has time to set up. And what are you even setting up? Like an Arceus, a Blissey EX, like a regular Blissey? Lugia? Lugia is very awkward to run into a deck, I feel. Like, yeah, Lyra and Ilima make it a little bit better, but I find it just super like it can just you can get put in really awkward positions where your Lugia kind of dies if it comes out too early. And Lugia really does nothing without Ho-Oh. That's the problem. Is you fully need Ho-Oh to get an attack off to do anything with Lugia. The chances of getting Lugia to attack without Ho-Oh's help is just like almost nil. Babies plus Ho-Oh plus Lugia is an archetype I've seen before, but Ho-Oh even when it gets off its three energies and it does its attack, it's only doing 80, and you could potentially just kill it. And then if the opponent lost a baby in the process of getting Ho-Oh out, then that's 3 points. I think it's an awkward card. I don't think it's that good. I think this is probably the worst of the gerbils. It's probably still top tier though. I think it's still good. What the effect is 60 damage, and then if you have four energies on it, you'll do 120. I've been using a Entei deck of my own design with Heatran that's been doing pretty well, but and this is a good card because it helps you draw, but you'll never get four energies on it. It's still good to get two energies on. That's still fairly obnoxious to have like a good two energy 60 damage card, because basic no less. Because you'll oftentimes, if things just go right, you'll just get an attack on turn three. Like if you run this with Magby, and Magby puts an energy on this on turn one, and then on turn three you just switch Magby in for free, or if it died or something like that, this comes in. Your opponent will have had no chance to evolve yet, and this will be doing 60 damage. You know, that can just kill something. I've had a lot of games like that where this just gets a really early kill on a mon that was supposed to set up, but never got the opportunity. I think it's a top tier mon, and the draw effect is the main reason to use it. I haven't even talked about the draw effect, but drawing an extra card every turn is insanely busted, even if you don't even put energies on it. The HP is good enough. The attack is super weak, but the draw effect is really strong, and the card is fast enough that you don't really feel the lack of attack. 23 minutes. That's you know, we're going through it. Blastoise. I don't think this was ever really strong. It has had help since then. Like it's better than it used to be. Um, you got like a Manaphy, I think is really good, and Energy Switch. They can actually let it get to its five energies. Misty, I guess you'd still run with this, but it's really awkward if you can't get your five energies on it. Like you know, yeah, you can get 40 on two energies. You know, it's nice that you even have the ability to attack, but 40 is really not much. Like Primarine is doing 80 with two energies. This guy's doing 40. Um, and then 100 for three energies is also. It's just it feels like a worse Primarina, and then you don't even have like something like How, and it'll always be a worse Primarina unless you can get all five energies on it, which is just something that's not reasonably going to happen most of the time. So it was that damage output was okay at release, but it's just fallen off. That's all. Starmie is like the king of viable at release, but fell off. This was a crazy good card that is now a pretty bad card. 130 HP is just really not enough anymore. I was saying it was bad for Celebi. It's bad for this too. The upside is the free retreat cost, And Cyrus just kills that. It's like, oh, you let it get weakened, but then you switch it out, and then, it never even sees the field again, except if you're going to kill their last mom with it or something like that. But, like, now, if you let it get hit, Cyrus can just pull it back in and kill it. It's, like, very, a volatile card. Um, and then, 90 damage for 2 energies is actually still good to this day. That's actually pretty good. Especially with, like, a Mantike or something like that. You could get this thing attacking pretty early. This could be a turn 3 attacker with Mantike. So Mantike did help it a lot, or Manaphy still enables it and stuff. It doesn't really need that much energy, so you don't really need energy acceleration with it. But it is, I don't know, it does attack pretty quickly for decent power. But yeah, Cyrus murdered this card. This was a super good card at release. I think it's still okay. I find a lot of the Articuno decks are very EX heavy. It's just a high HP basic. You can slot into any water deck technically. Its damage output is definitely feeling iffy in the modern day. 40 for 2 is again not amazing anymore, and then 80 for 3 is pretty good with the bench attacking, but 3 energies on this is something that you wish you'd put the energies on something else. Mantike onto this is too slow, I feel. It's kind of awkward. But uh, what's that guy? Manaphy with this is decent. If you're building up something else as well, I think that could feel okay. But yeah, the damage output is just not as good as it used to be. This card, it heals itself. It requires too much energy. It's not really strong enough. It was considered for a long time to be like the worst EX card. I don't think it ever actually was, but there are definitely better ones. Gyarados? Let's put him in has potential. I'm a little bit of a Gyarados believer. 140 is still a really good number. The energy destruction is still potentially very upsetting. And then it's easier to kind of build it up. You used to run it behind like a Druddigon or like a Chatot or various other things. There's probably new things you could hide it behind in the current meta. Zangoose, I don't know. Mimikyu. Mimikyu would actually be a really good one. Or not Mimikyu, what's that thing called? Pyukumuku. That's what I was talking about. Hiding this behind the Pyukumuku that does 50 damage actually sounds really obnoxious. So there's new ways you can kind of sneak it away, you know? And drawing out your deck is easier with like Pokemon Communication or like stuff like that. It's easier to get the Magikarp and the Gyarados up. And then that 140 damage output is actually extremely good. This is still a card that can just abruptly win if it ever actually fully gets set up, but it often won't get fully set up. That's the problem, is you can just get like benched attacked and get owned. Mantike works with this too, It might be worth it exploring. That's all I'm saying. Mantike plus Pyukumuku plus Magikarp. Again, Sabrina makes it really tricky, so you have to be really careful that you only play down like a few basics, but you need to run a certain number of basics to be reliably be able to draw up your Magikarp. I don't know. Still seems good to me. Palkia, this also, I think at the time of release, this was probably the strongest it ever was, with Manaphy being able to charge it up plus something else. This thing could easily be an early game like powerhouse, just slashing over and over and having high HP, and then giving you time to set up something in the back. But even if you could lead with Manaphy, Manaphy could power this up to the point where it's potentially using Dimensional Storm. Technically speaking, you could run this with Energy Switch. I don't think Mantike's a super good ally for it, but Energy Switch does make it stronger than it used to be, I guess. But the caliber of the things it's fighting are a lot tougher. The 4 energies, by the time your opponent has 4 energies, they've got something more destructive than this ready. And the 1 energy for 30 is not super powerful. Glaceon was never good. Glaceon, its 90 damage is good, but 3 energies is way too expensive for it. And then the bonus effect is just that it's doing passive damage every turn. It's like a permanent poison effect, but you can't power it up. Yeah, that passive damage is really not doing anything. Like, yeah, I guess your damage is technically 100 per turn. And, that passive damage is happening even before you get all your energies. But it's just, it's not enough. It's just way too weak. Wugtrio is a really funny card. I think it probably was viable at release. I ran an all-in Wugtrio deck for a while. In a baby meta, it would actually be pretty obnoxious. But anyone who can kind of fill out their bench, they'll just have a whole bunch of HP on their side, so the chances of Wugtrio actually killing things is pretty low. Like, yeah, I can kill a baby in one hit, but what if you hit the same baby with all 3 Wugtrios? Or like, I don't know. What if they just have like a whole bunch of high HP mons, and then you're not getting any kills every turn, and then, you're not upsetting any kind of thing. And not being able to target the thing in front of you is very awkward too. Because, like, that'll be the thing that's the most set up, the thing that's currently trying to kill your Wugtrio, and you can't even, like, hit it. Bug Trio can activate pretty quickly, especially with Misty. So if you get your Wiglet early and you get your Bug Trio early, you can sweep almost immediately. But if you don't get it right away, the opponent will have time to like kind of fill out their bench and reduce its damage output per turn. Colonel is very similar to Executor. I don't think I ever actually saw someone run this. It's like a good card on paper. I do think Brawler is kind of awkward. But this is Executor. It's got the one attack, one energy attack, and then the 40 damage, and then the 3 retreat cost, and I think the same HP, 160 HP, and it's a stage 1. So on all those fronts, it's the same as Executor. But the trick is that it always does 40 for its first hit, and always does 80 for all subsequent hits. The thing is, you can't upset that with Sabrina or Cyrus. Most people are actually these days are not running Sabrina, or if they're running it, they're only running one. Cyrus is usually considered to be the better card. So if you can get one of these in the early game, they can actually be very obnoxious. Um, it is a bit slow to really get its power going. In the first 2 attacks it gets, it's only doing uh, 40 into 80, so 120 damage across like turn 3 and turn 5. And if you go second, it's doing 20 on turn 2 and then 40 on turn 4 and then 80 on turn 6. It's even slower if you're going second. It takes a little while for it to really be feeling its power. I'm gonna tentatively put Primarina in viable currently. You might think I'm crazy. I think this card activates really quickly, and then it's not like it has a ton of HP plus the healing effect plus Arita plus Lily. You got How to increase its power. Um, you've got a versatile card here where it can be a good attacker or a good tank, and it can activate very quickly if you're lucky. It's not horrible anyway. All the stage ones stage twos require a little bit of luck to them, but this one at least has like Sing on its basics, so you can, and there's a lot of decent basic water cards you can run alongside it. Kingdra I think was a little suspect even at release. Um, 2 energies is very cheap. Was it 90 damage? I think that's really good, and its HP is very high too. I will say those things about it are all awesome. The trapping effect is kind of pointless, and then being able to, I don't know, 90 is not a crazy amount. Like it's good, but it won't one shot an EX. You need like 2 hits on anything, and it might turn into 3 hits if they have Lily or something like that. Suicune is top tier. Suicune's draw effect is awesome. Suicune can get up to 120 damage on 2 energies, and it can rapidly fill out its bench. Since you can draw cards so quickly, you can run it with Greninja, and then Greninja can just basically pull in any card on the opponent's side using Cyrus. And you'll have all these cards because the draw effect of Suicune is so good. Um, and then the counterplay to Suicune is that you have to leave your bench empty, and that's very antithetical to the whole concept of the game because it means you can't really be setting up anything else. Like, yeah, you cap it out its damage output at 60 per turn, which again is like 80 per turn or 100 per turn if it has a few Greninjas up. But uh, if that mon dies, the one that's taking 60 per turn, 60 per turn, 60 per turn, you have nothing set up. You didn't have any time to put any energies or any like evolutions on the bench mons. Um, Crazy good card. I think it only has a couple of bad matchups in the game. It's a serious candidate for the best card currently, although people do run like counterplay to it because of how good it is. 33 minutes, 3 types done. Pikachu, Bible release fell off. It did get some new tools. This is a maybe has potential card. Because uh, Pichu allows it to attack as early as turn 3. And then, what's his face? Energy Switch plus uh, Zeraora also allow it to attack as early as turn 3. You've got 2 different ways to get it up as early as turn 3. This card used to be great on turn 4, but bad if you went first, because it would only be able to attack on turn 5, which, by the way, is the same as Giratina. But nowadays, it's being able to activate it that much quicker is literally doing 90 extra damage. It's a big deal. That 90 extra damage can prevent something from ever being able to set up and kill you. So this is a really strong rushdown card, I think. But there's other electric rushdown cards. This one's notable for being really cheap. Like all the other rushdown electric cards require a little bit more energy than this. Like the Raichu or Tapu Koko all need 3. Zapdos was never really good. People kind of ran it on Pikachu decks as obligation right when it came out. It was not considered to be great, but you would just run it because it was a basic and it would help you fill out your bench. And, potentially you could do a little bit of attacking on the fly. It was like an alternate win con if things were going terribly. But its attack is too expensive and too inconsistent, and its HP is very suspect. It's only 130. This guy, probably viable at release and fallen off. It doesn't require the full bench. It just requires tools, so that's a little bit more versatility. I think with the electric cables, there might be some life to this guy, because you're doing 80 damage per turn on 2 energies, and then you get to keep the 2 energies. But the super low HP is, again, a huge issue. This one might also be and has potential. It's hard to say whether it's better or worse than Pikachu. It might be as good as... I'm going to put it down here. This Pikachu also has potential. It's a really good win con for electric decks. It's actually not very difficult to find time between like electric cables or energy switch. It's not very difficult to find time to get 3 energies onto this guy. And it just automatically kills something when it comes in most of the time. 150 damage is a crazy amount. That becomes 170 with red. Electric is super effective to a ton of things, including Suicune. This already just kills Suicune through a cape with no help at all. Really strong little guy. The Alolan one, I think this is probably viable currently. I wonder if these are maybe up there. I actually got to Ultra Ball just now using a Raichu Alola deck. Like that's the one I just got back to Ultra Ball with since the new expansion. And last expansion I was running it in Ultra Ball and having good success. So I would say I never see anyone else use it. I think other people don't really consider it to be a good card, but it one taps most of the current meta threats. It's like meta relevant. It like matches well against everything people are using. And then it's also like not a horrible card in general. It's 60 damage but goes up 30 for every energy attached to your opponent. So even mons that only have 2 energies, you're doing 120 to them, which becomes 140 against Suicune, for example, which also becomes 160 with red against Suicune, which means you kill it even through its cape. Very decent mon, very good pairing with Raikou. Raikou is strong currently. I got all 3 of the gerbils up there. Raikou's the last one, so I shouldn't talk about it yet, but I just put it up, so let's talk about it. It's 2 energies. It's weaker than the other 2, I guess, technically. It's still doing 60 for 2 energies, which is the same as all of them, and maybe not Suicune. And then you get to hit a thing on the bench, which is kind of obligatory damage, but it is nice because it sets up a Cyrus, which allows like your win con, like this Pikachu or this Raichu or whatever, to then kill something. Very strong, being able to Cyrus something in and just kill it. And then the draw effect of this is crazy strong. All 3 of these are here for their draw effects, but also like they have potential just as cards. They're worth putting 2 energies on anyway. And they all have like babies that energy accelerate for them, which is nice. Tapu Koko is probably has potential. It might be inviable at release, but fell off. This was a very good card when it came out. I haven't seen anyone run it since then. The 3 energies is very awkward because it feels like a 2 energy card because it's 1 energy attack puts another energy on it, but it's very hard to build on the bench. And then because of that, it's not a super good late game card. Like it takes too long to build up in the late game, and then its attack is not even strong in the late game, only doing 90. So it's decent in the early game. It's good if you go second. And you can get its effect faster with Pichu or Zeraora, but the problem is you kind of need one or the other. You kind of need both because it takes too much energy to use this attack, and it's not super strong. It's only as strong as original Pikachu. This one's probably here, realistically. It might be down here. It's hard to say. It's probably here. Lantern was never super good. I ran for the whole time that Lantern came out. I ran an Arceus deck, and it couldn't do. Arceus is immune to status, so every time it like used its attack on me, the people would never forfeit either. So I think they were just caught off guard that the status didn't work. Like I had a guy literally play Will on his Lantern to get the guaranteed paralysis on my Arceus, and then my Arceus didn't get paralyzed, and I just one tapped it. How much HP does it have? 150. I think I killed it somehow. Oh, I had a Crobat hit into the Arceus kill. It was 160 total. So I have a lower opinion on it than probably I should because I was running Arceus. But even Pokemon Center Lady can heal its effect, and that's not a rare card, although it's not in every deck. And the damage output of this is very suspect. But it is kind of a cool effect. It's 80 damage, and then it either paralyzes or confuses. And confusion is... Paralysis is you have no chance of attacking next turn, and confusion is you have a 1/2 chance of attacking. So it basically makes it so you've got a 3/4 chance of not being able to attack. Switching can cure paralysis, but you can't even switch if you're confused. I mean, if you're switching cures confusion, but you can't even switch if you're paralyzed. There we go. Gengar is like the it's the running gag card, I guess. It's like the potential man, the card. It's like, oh, the ability to seal supporters is so powerful, but there's just no energy acceleration that works with this. Gengar's already a stage 2. The only energy acceleration for Psychic is like Giratina plus Lunala, or Giratina plus Dawn, or like Gardevoir, and all of those are super awkward and clunky to run. This is actually probably the worst Gengar in the game, which is really funny to think about. Like the Bother Gengar is better than this. Like the 70 damage one and the 50 damage one are both better than this one. Really suspect card. Super. I don't know. The damage output is not crazy good either. The ability to steal supporters is really fun though. I have used this card before, and I must say, not having to think about like anything is very satisfying. It's like, what if they play red? You don't have to think about that. What if they play Sabrina? What if they play Cyrus? Being able to steal their supporter is crazy. And I guess it technically matches well against Silvally too, because it caps their damage output at 50. Really obnoxious card, but the damage output is really suspect, and it requires too many energies. Mewtwo is probably viable, at least what fell off. There's never been a better ally for Mewtwo than Gardevoir, even since it came out. Even Lunala Mewtwo is very suspect, I feel. Um, and that was really strong, being able to hit out 150 damage per turn if you ever actually got to that point. And it is easier now than it used to be because of better healing cards plus rare candy for Gardevoir, plus better deck searching. Like, I remember when people were running Mythical Slab with this, that's how desperate we were, trying to get our Gardevoirs as fast as possible. Um, this was like one of the best cards in the game when it came out, but yeah, like nowadays, the damage output is still good, but it's too slow and too inconsistent. It's very brick heavy. This one, when Mew came out, it was the perfect anti-meta card because it bodied all the top tier threats. It requires 3 energies, but uses the opponent's attack against it, and it works in any deck. So you can just run it. You could have a Mew in your deck, and if the opponent's running like Charizard, Mew could use Crimson Storm from Charizard for 3 energies, and it didn't even have to discard anything, and it would just one-shot the Charizard because it's doing 200 damage to a 180 HP mon. Or like Mewtwo, it could just one-shot Mewtwo with its own attack before Mewtwo was even like fully set up. When it came out, this card was crazy. 120 HP is super low nowadays though, and most EX cards do not die to their own attack. Like, what's this gonna do against a Jumpluff? What's this gonna do against like a Primarina? Like, yeah, I guess you could beat like a Raichu with it. Maybe Suicune. This requires more energy to use Suicune's attack than Suicune does. It's not a good reply to most of the common threats. Um, I think I think Miss Magios was kind of underrated when it came out. It activates really quickly and it's pretty strong. Well, it's not strong. It's not strong at all. I think it's garbage now, but I don't know if it was truly strong at release. It's confusion, I think. It's 100% chance of confusion, 70 damage for 2 energies. Yeah, that's really not great damage output. Its HP is okay. It's 140. It's not good or bad. It's definitely not a good card in the current meta. It probably was never a good card. It's kind of a fun card to use, though. I literally don't even remember Crest. What, it heals itself every time you put an energy on it or something like that? Yeah, I think it's just got an inverted ability to Darkrai. It's not a good card. Requires too much energy to attack. It's not strong enough. The healing effect is kind of good though. It's very obnoxious. I think we could. I think we could put Giratina still in top tier. I think that's still a top tier card. It is used in the most used deck currently. This weekend decks will have a slot in a single Giratina. Just when you don't have anything else to do, you can just slap energies onto that. Let me take a drink of this real quick. Hold on. Giratina is really notable because it gives you something to do on turns where you have nothing to do. And it doesn't require much investment because it's kind of setting itself up. It's very awkward in non-psychic decks because you do have to spend 3 turns setting it up in non-psychic decks, and that's really annoying. Once it is set up, it's very powerful. 130 damage becoming 150 with red, and then 150 HP. That's crazy on a basic. That's really nice. So it's quite a strong card once it gets going, and it's probably one of the best cards in the whole lifespan of the game. I think people didn't really think it would be that good when it was first revealed, which is really funny. Lunala, I think a lot of people were like not Lunala believers. When Lunala came out, I laddered with it and I made it to Ultra Ball with Lunala. My deck was really quirky. It was like a Lunala Giratina, and I used the Giratina. I used Lunala to get the to pass the energies around between from Giratina to itself, and then itself to Giratina and stuff like that. And it felt like quite a good deck. And Giratina is only a basic, so you still have room for the Lunala. And then at the end of it, I would try and pass the energies onto my Wincon, which originally was a Mewtwo, and then I changed it to the Rayquaza. And that's probably the only Rayquaza. That's probably the only deck Rayquaza's ever been viable in. I did run into someone running Lunala recently, and it's he had to spend so much time like switching around because I was just doing too much damage per turn. And he was running two Giratinas and two Lunalas, and he got them all set up, so he had like a ton of HP. He had like two 150 HP and two 180 HP Mons on his side. But he just couldn't find the time to get the energies because he was constantly discarding them to switch because my damage output was so high. What deck was I running? I was running the Raichu one as well. So if he ever killed anything, Raichu just killed it back. Very awkward for him. But it is notable that I saw one in the current day. There's still people running Lunala. It might be in has potential. It's a good friend of Giratina. This is one of the best EX cards in the whole game. Just draws two cards when you play it. You can run it in any deck. It enables a ton of slow decks. It's particularly good in the Espeon deck, and also, by the way, let's put Espeon up there. Great teammates, great friends. Espeon is actually one of the rare cards that actually has a winning matchup against what's that thing? Suicune. Because you can just play Espeon by itself and then heal itself every turn, and Suicune dies to your damage output and can't do significant damage to you when its damage is capping at 30. I mean 60, and then you heal 30 per turn. Espeon's healing effect is quite good. It's not amazing, but it's kind of good. And then the speed at which it sets up. And if you're running against other decks, it's really good for its synergy with Sylveon, and then its synergy with the regular Sylveon plus like the regular Espeon. You can make a deck with just all EVs, and it's really fast. It's like almost you almost can't brick with it because how many cards you draw because of the Sylveons. Um, and then the EV bag makes it kind of increases its damage output and even stacks with red if you want to stack it with red. And because you've got the draw effect on Sylveon, you'll probably usually have your Sabrina or your Cyrus by the time you need it or whatever. Machamp was bad at release. Machamp needs 3 energies to do 120 damage. 120 is just not great anymore. 180 HP is still good. The retreat cost is very awkward on Machamp. Um, it was usually considered to be one of the worst EX cards when it came out. The damage output is just terrible, even especially now. It's too slow to do that little damage. You really want your like, do you want something stronger, or you want something, I don't know, with more versatility? If it was even 130, that'd be a huge upgrade. Marowak is probably viable at release. It might just be bad at release. It's very inconsistent. It's one of the most inconsistent cards in the game. Technically speaking, it's buffed by Will, because Will makes it guaranteed 80 damage with a 1/2 chance of 160, and that's a lot better. But it's just like a way worse Tinkaton. Um, it is nice how quickly it sets up. It's only a stage 1 and it only needs 2 energies, but it is so annoying when you get like the double miss. And then even then, if you only on most of the time you're just going to be getting one heads, and that's not crazy damage output, 80 per turn. Fighting is super effective to a lot of stuff though. Aerodactyl used to be a pretty funny card. It's still a pretty funny card. It can still just really upset some decks. There are definitely decks nowadays that uh, would fold to this. The damage output is really suspect. It's 80 for 2, I think, right? That's okay. And Lucario powers it up if you want to run it with Lucario, I guess. The main reason to use it is for its ability. It prevents Pokemon in front of you from evolving. But only the active Pokemon, so they can still evolve on the bench. So, like, yeah, it's funny to run it against an EV deck, but then the EV just collects or finds a friend to get all its little EV friends, and then they all just evolve on the bench. And then they just retreat, and you didn't do anything. And then your fighting allies all die because you're running against a psychic deck. Even, like, in the best of times, it's not crazy, I feel. But it is pretty funny that the opponent can't like play a rare candy if they're in the front spot or something like that. Like yeah, you do body like a solo Incineroar or something. Gallade, this one's probably and has potential. It's quite strong. 2 energies is really cheap, and then you've got 70 plus 20 for each energy on the opponent. So 70 to 90 to 110. The damage output is not crazy, actually. I like that the damage minimum is so high, but it's just a weaker version of Executor, the Mythic Islands one. But the HP is super high, so you're almost always going to be getting two of that attack off, and it can actually like one tap some high HP mons here and there. Excuse me. And it does stack on with like Lucario if you want to run it like that, I guess. This one might be inviable in release, but fell off. It was quite a good card for a long time, and people ran it quite a lot. Um, Garchomp is still really annoying. I think it probably isn't has potential. Maybe I'm crazy. It's 50 damage on any target, and then 100 for 3 energies. It's 100 damage on the thing in front of you. Those numbers are not high, but being able to pick your target is really strong. And then the combination of linear attack to hit something on the bench, then silencing in for the Dragon Claw. The 50 plus 100 is enough to kill most things, and then you have a lot of HP. It's 170 HP, and the fact that you can attack with only one energy is also very powerful. So this can be attacking as early as turn 3 if you're lucky. I think it's still a very good card, and fighting is a really good type. Let's be real. Being weak to grass is not a huge deal, and you're super effective to some dark cards, some all normal cards, most normal cards, and then also, what else? There's like another one, electric. You're also super effective to electric. That's really nice. Lucario was probably bad at release. You can't even power it up with another Lucario. I mean, you can, but you can only have one of each because you only have two Riolus. If they made a Riolu EX, that sure would be nice for this guy. But its damage output is just not good enough. It's 100 damage to its target, and then 30 damage to something on the bench. So you probably prefer the 130 damage to the thing in front of you, honestly. Although I will say it's kind of cool being able to get 30 damage on something and then Cyrus it in for 100. For 3 energies, you wish it was stronger. It's too slow for the lack of damage output. Passimian is probably bad at release. People did run it quite a lot at release because people were really excited for a fighting energy acceleration. The problem is this is not truly fighting energy acceleration. You have the same total number of energies. It just gives the energies to something when it dies. And there's too many things that can go wrong. If it dies to passive damage like poison or like a Crobat's like Linked Arceus attack or something like that, Greninja's Shuriken, if it dies to anything that's not actually an attack, it doesn't pass on the energies. And it's not a great card. It's rarely going to kill anything. It's 2 energies for 60 damage, which again, fighting is a good type. But uh, maybe you'll kill a basic with it. Most basic will have a chance to evolve by that point and won't die. And if you ever have it as a late game card, it's horrible. Like, this is a terrible card to play in the late game because it still offers 2 points and its damage output is super low, and it can't. Its main purpose is passing energies to things, but it can't do that if you lose if it dies. So once the opponent has any point at all, Passimian becomes a terrible card. Um, I don't know. People really tried to make it work, but I think it didn't work. Um, Lycanroc is probably bad at release, but it might be and has potential, and I guess it could be viable. The damage output is decent. It's 130. It has to discard every turn, which is annoying. It's very consistent because Rockruff has an attack that just gives you a Lycanroc. Um, that's nice. The energy is just a little too slow. But like with red, this can kill a lot of stuff. This could just rapidly win games. The problem is you need something that can easily allow it to come in and to be ready in the late game. So something that can like activate really quickly and then just kind of like wait for this to just pass energies to this so it can clean up once it finally comes in. If you lead with this, it takes quite a long time to get going, and it discards an energy every turn. So you've got you won't have anything set up in the back if you've been attacking nonstop with this thing. I've definitely lost to it before. I've run against it and lost to it, but I think it's not super amazing. It's too stiff. It doesn't work with other cards very well. Donphan is probably just in viable currently. That one's really beastly. Memory Light Donphan is really strong. Even without the Memory Light, it's really strong. It's 50 damage for 1 energy, and it becomes 110 for 3. It is possible to get 3 energies on it. It can operate as a win con if you want. But 50 damage for 1 energy with a Giovanni is crazy. And also with weakness is crazy. Or even with red is crazy. This is such a beastly early game card because of its high damage output. And then the useful typing. It's got a super high retreat cost. It's one of those cards like Executor, like Abominable, where it's just an early game attacker. but it's probably the best of the three. And then Memory Light is crazy because it gives it Flail from Fampy, and Flail does damage equal to the HP you're missing. So you got 1 energy for up to 150 damage, which is absolutely insane. It usually won't be that number, but you know, Donphan is hard to kill in one hit, and if you can't one-shot it, then Memory Light is giving it a powerful Flail. Poliwrath is probably in bad at release. I did successfully ladder with Poliwrath when it came out. I used a really weird deck. It was Tyrogue, Altaria, Poliwrath. Probably the Tyrogue retrospectively should have been a Mantike. But when this card gets going, it can be unstoppable. Like this card can do 140 damage every turn if you're running it in the dual type deck, and it has 180 HP. So it's crazy bulk, and it works with Lily. Crazy bulk, crazy damage output. It works with like Red, it works with Arita. Um, really strong card. But then it's very slow to get going, and you have to run it on a dual type deck, or else just do the 100 damage for 3 energies, which is terrible. Um, I've seen it used with an all fighting energy in a Mantike deck, and Mantike is the only way to get water on it. I think that's very awkward if you don't get your Mantike. And I've seen it used. I used it in a double color deck. I used it water fighting, and I used Altaria as an alternate win con slash like staller, because Altaria has quite a lot of HP and does quite a lot of damage if you can get 2 different energy types on it. I had good success with that actually. I was winning like 60% of games with that, which is not horrible, but it's definitely not like a meta threat or anything. It could be and has potential. It's possible it's as high as here. I mean, I was winning with it like as late as last expansion, so I guess it probably is and has potential just because of its damage output and its bulk. It feels weird to put it there though. It's probably just bad. Whatever. I'm a Poliwrath stan. We'll put it as high as there. Getting through it. We're an hour deep. Weavile. It probably is viable currently. I'll put it in has potential. It also could be a viable release but fell off. I haven't seen anyone run it in a long time. It's 70 damage if the opponent already for 1 energy if the opponent already has damage on it, which has absolutely incredible synergy with Darkrai because Darkrai puts damage on things from the bench. But Darkrai is a little stronger once it's actually set up. Darkrai is doing 20 damage for the energy plus 80 damage per hit, and with Weavile you're doing 20 damage from Darkrai plus 70 damage from Weavile. So Weavile kind of acts as a pseudo. It kind of gives you Darkrai earlier, effectively. Um, Probably a good card, honestly. I'm gonna put it in has potential. That seems fair. I'll put Darkrai in strong currently. I mean, come on. Darkrai is a good card. Do we even have to say anything? It's the pot shots it gives are just insanely useful. And if you have any kind of thing that like also sets up that you can do at the same time, really famously people use this alongside Giratina, and they would have the Giratina do the bellow and then put the energy on the Darkrai on the same turn, so you'd be getting 2 energies per turn every turn and setting up 2 Mons. Um, and either one kind of works as a good win con. And then this can actually break through Oricorio because of its pot shot damages, which is a super rare claim to fame for EX cards. Very few EX cards can successfully break Oricorio. Incineroar is one of them because of the burn. Most EX cards just get hardwalled, but Darkrai can do it. And there were like specific Oricorio decks people were running where it would beat Darkrai. And you would have like a Shaman on the bench, and then like Cape, and like Potion or like what's it, Pokemon Center lady. You'd have like a setup where you would out heal their damage. But even then, like Oricorio is only doing 50 damage per turn, and 2 Darkrai and 2 Giratina have like a ton of HP between them. What I think 140 for Darkrai, 150 for Giratina. So all that, and then you're just doing 50 per turn with your little Oricorio, and like this puts like a Dark Pendant on it or a Poison Barb on it. Then what? You hit it with your Oricorio, and then you're poison. You're taking damage every turn. It's bad. Very simple deck to run. Very strong. Darkrai is a good card. Um, this one is probably just bad at release. It sets up really quickly. It might be as good as has potential because Will helped it a lot, and so did Memory Light. I'm gonna put it in has potential. Will, if you're running it with Grafaiai, Will make it so it guarantees poison, and then this guy will do what 120 damage per turn. And then Memory Light gives it its attack as a Wooper, which inflicts poison. So you've got 2 different ways. Previously, it has Venoshock, so it does bonus damage if the opponent's poisoned. Previously, once you killed something with it, the new thing that comes in wouldn't be poisoned, and this has a super high retreat cost, and there'd be no means to poison the thing in front of you anymore. And that was very awkward. But the high HP and low attack cost is actually pretty good on this card. And if you have the means to poison them again. But Graphia is not a good card, that's the problem. The Heligo and Poison Bar help it a lot too. It's probably has potential. Muck is probably not great. It's too inconsistent, requires a lot of energy, and it's not like Grimer is a crazy good card. And there's just a chance you just get something that's not helpful. This just inflicts a random status ailment from a pool of 5. It's like Paralysis, Sleep, Confuse, whatever the other ones are. Poison Burn. So, like, what if you just get poison and you didn't, it's great if you get Paralysis. Well, basically all the other ones are not crazy. Guzzlord could be strong currently, or it could be viable currently. It's kind of a hard call. People are running a deck with 1 Celesteela and 2 Guzzlords and no other Mons. That is like a viable deck people are running. And they use the Celesteela to kill the Oricorios, I guess, or use it to move around the Guzzlords. Guzzlord has a very obnoxious effect. It's like the highest HP basic in the game, and then has a very obnoxious effect with its Grindcore, where it forces the opponent to discard energies. And then if you're running it in like a low energy deck, a low Mon deck, you have a lot of trainer cards, so you have room for things like Team Rocket Grunt. And then you could run it with a Dark Pennant or a Poison Barb. Poison Barb is typically what people run. And then even trying to kill this, it's got so much HP that you're guaranteed to poison yourself trying to attack it. It's a very obnoxious card. The damage output on it is not crazy. Only 30 for 2 or 120 for 4. You can often get those energies really easy thanks to Lusamine. So, like, if you're running 2 of these in a deck, you're spending forever putting the energies on the first one, but the second one gets them really quickly thanks to Lusamine. It's a strong card. It might be in top tier. Crobats, people are definitely running it. I personally haven't been losing to it, but I think the decks I've been running have been just good against it. I think Raichu's not even that good against it, but I bodied it with my Raichu deck just recently. I think the guy bricked. I think he couldn't get his Crobat, and then when he finally got it, I was able to kill it. Because it's a low energy Mon. It only needs 1 energy. And having that, the attack is pretty strong. 70 damage plus a guaranteed poison. Like, run that with Nihilego, and it's actually got a crazy damage output. And it activates so quickly is the thing. Zubat's not a good card, though. Zubat can just die. It's very volatile as a Zubat user. I forgot to mute to drink. Umbreon, I don't know. It's probably here. It's probably viable. The free Cyrus is quite cool. Working with the EV bag is quite cool. EV doesn't have that many other good cards you can run in Dark. Like, yeah, you can run Sylveon alongside this, and that works. But like the main allies you're going to be using are things like Darkrai or like Umbreon or something like that. Or not Umbreon, what do you call it? Well, yeah, Umbreon actually. You could run the regular Umbreon with this, but I was going to say Absol. Those are like the allies I would immediately think of. The damage output is not great. EV Bag makes it a little bit better. EV Bag also gives a little bit of healing. The free Cyrus effect is quite cool, but it's not like a crazy card or anything. It might only be in viable at release. I think it's okay. I think I can put it in viable currently. Ultra Necrozma. This is probably bad at release. It might be viable at release. It might be viable currently. It might be has potential. That's a really hard call. I'm going to put it down here. This would be a terrible card, but Lusamine kind of enables it. Lusamine is so crazy, and there are actual cards that you can run in a Psychic Steel deck, as weird as that sounds, Psychic Metal. But Psychic Metal is so restrictive to your deck building that there's been no development since then. Maybe there's some normal card you can run alongside it. I don't know. That attack is pretty strong, but it's just so restrictive to get off. The Dragonite is probably inviable currently. I don't think it's all the way up top. It might be. It could be as high as here. I think it's a good card. I don't think it's crazy good. It activates a lot faster than, the other Dragonite did. Needing 2 different energy types is annoying, but you can do it with the babies. And it sure is strong once it gets going. And then you've got stuff like, Lyra? Or like fossils that can potentially allow you to attack repeatedly. But energy is very scarce. it takes a lot of deck space to run like babies plus Lyra plus like the full Dragonite line. You know, you start running out of room for things like Red or Iono or I don't know, Sabrina or Cyrus. All the nice supporters, Silver. You know, you run out of room for the supporters that are nice to have. Dialga was probably viable at release. It might have been bad at release. Definitely people ran it a lot. Again, it's like a pseudo energy ramp. It is a real energy ramp because it does generate energies, but it's so slow to get going. It's very possible that your Dialga either comes out too late and can't actually do any energy acceleration, or it dies without ever getting a chance to get 4 energies on itself, or only gets a chance to use its attack once or something like that. It kind of just sets up too slowly. But there are some mons that enables. The problem is it passes things metal energy, and they're very like they aren't great abusers of that. Most of the other metal types don't need a ton of energy. Um, like yeah, there's what's it Melmetal or like Probopass or something like that that need a lot of energy. I don't know. It's iffy. It's not very good. You could give it the energy to anything though, right? You can give it to normal types if you want. Probopass is bad. It has a lot of HP and it reduces damage to itself, which is kind of cool. You could run it with Iron Apron. You could run it with I don't know. It's not great actually. I take it back because it's only a stage 1, which is good because it activates quickly, but you can't run it with Lily or anything like that. The damage output is not insane, and 3 energies is awkward. It only really feels like viable to hit that number with Dialga, and Dialga is bad for other reasons. That combo is just not good enough. Honestly, I think Metal is a better win con with Dialga than Probopass is because it's a lot stronger, and the HP is like almost as good. Tinkaton has potential, I think. This one's kind of interesting because of Will. Will really changed this card. It was very inconsistent when it came out, and that was frustrating because it does 80 all the time and then 160 if you get heads. And that's some serious power. 160 is enough to one-shot everything. But that if you just got the tails, you know, that could be a crucial miss because you spend the whole game trying to get this thing ready. It's a stage 2, and it needs 3 energies, and there's no energy acceleration for metal. Um, but Will gives it a reliable kill in the late game, and you could potentially, you know, draw 2 wills by the time this hits the field. And it does have a lot of HP, so it has a real chance of getting 2 attacks off. Very, very good chance. Better than not. I think it's probably still a decent card if you run it with Will, and then like I don't know, Skarmory and tools and stuff like that. Solgaleo, I'm gonna put that in strong currently. That card is a beast. That card is one of the best cards in the whole game. It only needs 2 energies to attack. You can easily get it in because its ability allows it to just come in. Lily works with it, so you can just heal it very easily. I've seen it with the gerbils. I've seen it with the babies. I've seen it with uh, I forget. I've seen like with other stuff. Skarmory. I've seen it with Skarmory. Um, but you just 120 damage is not crazy, and the 10 damage to yourself is kind of annoying because it makes you Cyrus bait. But it's so hard to fight a deck that gets Solgaleo up early because it just comes in, it starts wrecking havoc. It's so difficult. It's so powerful, and it like with other decks, there's kind of a break potential if they lead with the wrong thing, or they've got to spend a turn using an X speed, or like spend a turn attaching an energy just to get their attacker or their win con in. But this guy just comes in without help. And also, if they build another one on the bench, that one can just come in without help, and you don't even have to discard the energies from the original one. It's so versatile because of its ability to just kind of come in, and then it's extremely high damage output for 2 energies. Like 120 for 2 energies, like what? That's like Suicune in the best of worlds, and this is just doing it casually. And it's got a lot more HP than Suicune, but Suicune's a basic. Dugtrio, this is probably viable at release. It fell off. I think this is kind of an underrated card. It's 2 energies and it's flip 3 coins, 60 damage per heads. You need 3 heads to actually have a really good damage output. Again, like 2 heads, which will happen half the time. At least 2 heads has as half the time. Is as strong as Solgaleo. And this sets up a little bit faster than Solgaleo does because you don't need the rare candy. So all you need is the Diglett and the Dugtrio. So in that way, it's kind of good. But like the other half of the time, you're going to be doing 60 or 0, and that's really iffy. Those are just not. That's not good damage output. Now it's nice because you've got a 7/8 chance of killing a 60 HP basic. But if you've got like a 150 HP mon in front of you, if you've got like Suicune in front of you, you need 3 heads to kill that in one turn. And even across 2 attacks, you still only have like a 1/2 chance of getting 3 hits across 2 attacks, and that's if they don't use like a Rita. Well, I guess a Rita actually wouldn't save them. I don't know. The damage output is a little suspect. This is probably in has potential. Skarmory. It might just be inviable currently. It might be. It might be bad. It might just be in bad at release. The damage output is really suspect. But between it does activate fairly quickly, especially if you go second. It has good HP, and between Jasmine and like Iron Apron, it is and its attack effect, it's actually very bulky. It'll survive a lot of hits that has no business surviving. So it'll get that 70 damage off like over and over and over. And it's a basic. So, a lot of consistency comes with that. It's okay. It feels a little weird putting it that high. I did get owned by a Skarmory deck just recently, so maybe I'm overrating it. Wigglytuff is a candidate for the worst card. It's sleep guaranteed, but sleep wears off half the time, and it does 80 damage, and it's 3 energies for a colorless mon, so it's not even super effective to anything. It's not very good. I kind of think that Pidgeot might be in, has potential. This is my favorite EX card. I think it's just bad. Um, when it came out, it was okay. People typically don't really look at your Pidgeys and think, oh no, I have to leave my bench empty. And 140 damage at cap is actually pretty nice, especially with red. Like this theoretically would one tap a Suicune, and through cape with red, and Suicunes invariably fill up their bench. And even if the Suicune didn't fill up its bench, it would then be reducing its own damage output. So um, even if you couldn't one tap it, you wouldn't be threatened back. 170 HP is quite high, and 3 energies is not amazing, but your minimum damage is 80, and that goes up quite a lot with each bench mon, up to 140. Probably up there. Licky Licky, the energy requirement is too high. The attack effect is actually good, but it's just too expensive. It does have crazy damage output, especially if you're lucky, and its HP is good. Arceus is probably just smack dab in strong. It's probably just a top tier card. It's one of the strongest. It's like a quiet top tier card because it's colorless and it needs 3 energies, but it enables a bunch of other really good cards such as Crobat or Heatran or I don't know. There are other cards that benefit from its little passive effect, and then also any kind of energy acceleration to it is very strong, and its ability to power up is very simple. It's just fill out your bench. It's just something you'd be doing anyway. I've been seeing there's a deck that's currently very strong. It's just a bunch of babies plus Darkrai plus this thing, and you run it with Dark Energy. So you put your Dark Energies in your Darkrai to get pot shots, which also enables this to do 150 damage per turn instead of 130 per turn. And then the babies power up this, and then the babies just fill out your bench when this is attacking, because you need a full bench to get the full power from Arceus. But then, the baby's putting the energy on Arceus, and Arceus is getting an energy, and then you're putting your turn energy onto Darkrai. So you're setting up an Arceus and a Darkrai at the same time. Very powerful. Bafael is just bad. Energy requirement is way too high, and Bidoof is not a good card. Rayquaza is probably and has potential, realistically, but I'm going to put it down here. I've never seen anyone run it. I'm the only person I know of who's ever run it. It's got a Dragonite style effect, but I think it's a little bit worse, but I don't remember how it's worse. It picks random targets and does damage to them. I don't remember the difference. I just remember that it's worse. It might do less damage per hit. It might only be like 40 per hit or something. Eevee, this is a top tier card, I guess. Feels weird putting it this high, but it just enables you. It enables all the Eevee decks, and the Eevee decks are very strong, so it's very consistent. Snorlax is probably in bottom. I have seen people try and work that. I've seen people try and make it work. I fought like the Ilima Snorlax decks where they tried to hide behind the Snorlax. I don't think it's super strong. I'm not a Lugia believer. I think Ho-Oh has like other things it could also power up that aren't Lugia. Yeah, Lugia is stronger than those other things, but the other things might work without help, and Lugia needs Ho-Oh. And then I guess I would put Blissey down here too. Is that really all of them? I think that's all of them. We've got to even up to the modern stuff. Blissey's just heals, but it's too slow. There's so many high energy normal type EX cards that just are way too slow to set up. I think that's it. Who's the overall winner here? I put a lot of grass cards right at the start into has potential. I think I'm reasonably satisfied with this list. Unfortunately, it's so big that I can't get it all onto one screen. Let me try and kind of reduce my... There we go. There they all are. It's a bit hard to read, isn't it? I'm sure someone will just skip right to the end of the video and see this and be like, wow, I can't even tell what anything is. I don't know. I'll just put timestamps that when I talk about each type, and then it'll be super easy to follow if you want your thoughts on your specific mon or something like that. Anyway, thanks for watching.